So Roger Goodell issued a statement last week. Basically, he's in total support and he's behind players that want to continue support on bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter and police brutality. He also apologized in this video of players who have protested. He apologized. Now, the video statement he issued was almost perfect. I felt like it could have been perfectly perfect if he would have issued an apology to Colin Kaepernick, but I understand why he could not do that, okay? Because he didn't want to basically be sued again by Colin Kaepernick, basically admitting that they were wrong to Colin Kaepernick, because we all knew that he was being blackballed out of the NFL, because a lot of owners, and I'm just using their words, okay, they did not want that distraction in their locker rooms, okay, because they didn't want to talk about it, because they were not comfortable talking about it, or they was not knowledgeable enough or even interested in talking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality. So Roger Goodell issued a statement last week, and he had pressure behind, not only because Black Lives Matter finally is being put in the forefront. You know, people are protesting in the streets. It's not only black people, it's white people. It doesn't matter your nationality, your demographic, your economic background, your educational background. Everyone was furious after watching George Floyd's video. Basically, a black man, an innocent black man, lost his life, and it was documented on video. Now, when we talk about police brutality, we follow it up with stories and pictures and things like that, and it really doesn't resonate to people to a lot of people in society who doesn't experience or have no educational background on police brutality, because it does not affect their community. It's just not rampant in their community. But when you talk about in low income areas, it resonates throughout those communities. All right. And a lot of people did not want to talk about it because they felt uncomfortable talking about it. And the reason why Roger Goodell made that video, because of what Drew Brees said a few days ago. Okay, basically, and I'm paraphrasing what Drew Brees says, that, the interviewer asked Drew Brees about players protesting during the national anthem, and Drew Brees basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, he'll have an issue or a problem with someone protesting during the national anthem, because in his family, his father and I believe his grandfather was were veterans, and that's like disrespecting them. Okay. And what Drew Brees failed to realize nor understand, that, African Americans were veterans too. They fought in those same wars your father and your grandfather fought in. But when they went home, they were preceded differently. Your grandfather and your father and others, others in white America, they looked at these guys as heroes, fighting for our freedoms and our rights. They were viewed and preceded as heroes. But when you look at African Americans, they would have to take their uniforms off, and they were not perceived as heroes. Okay. And that's why the flag have a different meaning to different nationalities. The flag is not a universal symbol for all nationalities. It's different. Okay. And by the way, Drew Brees, you have this respect for the flag, but you don't, and during that conversation, you don't talk about the flag as a symbol to you, right? Well, that same flag, that same symbol is on Budweiser cans. It's on bikinis. It's on beach towels. It's on top of cars. So, you don't have any issue with them commercializing the flag or the symbol, and you don't have a problem with them disrespecting the symbol when it's placed on other things. But you have a problem with someone protesting during the national anthem, okay? Because they're trying to spark awareness for Black Lives Matter and police brutality, all right? But nevertheless, he basically got drugged through social media by LeBron James, by countless people, even and people were shocked and surprised, even in his own community in New Orleans. Okay, the people in New Orleans are shocked at what Drew Brees said. Even his current and former NFL players are shocked what Drew Brees says. He's gotten so much backlash for this. He's on an apology tour, and I feel like this is his, fourth, fifth apology. He's probably going to apologize sometime this week again because he understands the error of his ways, all right? But we're at this point because people like Drew Brees, countless other people, Terry Crews included, they don't want to talk about Black Lives Matter or police brutality because, one, in their own community, they don't experience police brutality. And two, they just feel uncomfortable talking about Black Lives Matter. That's why they try to put other things into the equation of the debate or the argument. Talking about you're not being patriotic, you're not an American, this, that, and the third. They always bringing nuances into the discussion when we're talking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality, and they're bringing other equations that really does not have anything to do with what we're talking about. And the reason why they do that, because they're not comfortable. They don't feel comfortable talking about it. It doesn't affect them. Okay? So they don't have any knowledge or understanding about it. Okay? I was listening to Travis Outkick the Coverage. I probably butchered his name. He basically implied that if people are so worried about the coronavirus, how come everyone was protesting? And to that I say this, well, keep that same energy on Memorial Day. When they started opening up a lot of these cities and breaking down things into phases. People wanted to get out, all right? And basically, he's campaigning that we should have live sports back. I understand his frustration, but everything's in moderation. Everyone wasn't quarantined when they was protesting George Floyd. When that happened, a lot of the cities in the United States were opening. And they're on like their phase 3, phase 4, basically encouraging people to come back to work, to come back to restaurants, to gyms, hair salons, nail shops. Okay, all that was before George Floyd's death. Okay, so I felt like in some ways, in some perspectives, he was basically implying that, if people had an issue about getting the coronavirus, how come they don't have an issue about it when they protest, when they was out in the street protesting concerning George Floyd's death? Okay. I just want everyone to know that, people were out regardless. It didn't have anything to do with George Floyd. But I feel like with Black Lives Matter, every corporation is supporting. Everyone is on board, finally, about this cause. It took so long. And unfortunately, it had to be video documented by an innocent black man dying by the hands of the police department to get to this point. Now we're at the point where a lot of things that we in African American communities thought that was disgusting to us, that we had conversations about, and nothing could be done about these things, are finally being done. Confederate flags are being removed off a lot of NASCARs. The Confederate flag is being removed from a lot of government institutions. Statues of our forefathers who were known racists are finally being removed okay, out of a lot of these government institutions, all because of the movement of Black Lives Matter. And it really sparked, and everyone was really furious and upset after watching the video of George Floyd, of his passing, okay? But that's why Roger Goodell is at this moment. He's getting a lot of pressure from current and former players, from fans. When Colin Kaepernick was trying to bring awareness with this, it was only, most of the majority of the African American community. I felt like there was a lot of African Americans out there that didn't understand the movement, that thought the movement was a ploy by Colin Kaepernick. Notably, Jason Whitlock, he would ramble and talk about how, Colin Kaepernick is benefiting from this movement and he lost his job anyway. He knew he was never going to be a starting quarterback. Once again, adding things to the argument that has nothing to do with the initial argument, okay? Confusing people, deflecting, okay, basically, all right? So we finally, Black Lives Matter is, is a real serious movement that has traction, that has support from all nationalities. Okay. So, unfortunately someone had to lose their life, for everyone to get on board with this. And everyone should have been on board years ago. Okay. Years ago. Okay. Why it took a death. You witnessed a death for you to finally truly understand Black Lives Matter. How offensive all lives matters is when we're trying to gain awareness for Black Lives Matter. A lot of people lost their jobs. I feel like in the next several months, you're going to see your favorite star, your favorite celebrity get caught up texting something racist or something that was totally against Black Lives Matter, and they're going to have to either explain it and they're going to end up losing their job, okay? Dabo Sweeney, basically, and I'm going to apologize because this guy's getting ready to, his car's kind of loud, but anyway, Dabo Sweeney had to issue a statement about when he had a t-shirt, and the t-shirt basically said, "Football matters," okay? And, that could imply several different ways, all right? But, he's issuing a statement that, he's not saying that he's against Black Lives Matter or anything like that. But it's getting a lot. Black Lives Matter, this movement, is going to affect a lot of people that do not believe nor think Black lives really, truly matter. And the other half of the people say, well, all lives should matter. Well, all lives really doesn't matter if Black lives don't matter. That's the whole initiation and the process to Black Lives Matter. Unfortunately, Black lives don't matter, so all lives in general don't matter. And that's why we're at this juncture today. All right. So that's all I got to tell you. That's all I got to talk about, guys. I really do appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel. I really do appreciate the views. This channel is not even a year old yet, okay? And we got 1,000 subscribers. We got over 100,000 views. I really do appreciate that. And guys, just continue to support. Hit the notification bell if you like. If you want to hear more, I had another video I wanted to talk about, but we'll talk about that at some other junction. I'm up out of here. Deuces.